The more selfless your intention, the more power it will have. Jinky 52, with the shadow of stress, the city of stillness, and it's the path of restraint. My wisdom story. As a young farm boy, I dreamed of a bigger life. I was a ravenous reader, and it didn't take long before I started writing myself. By some stroke of luck, in my early 20s, I wrote a fast-paced historical fiction novel that was discovered by a major publisher and raced straight to the top of the bestseller list. As soon as I received my first royalty check, I moved to the big city, where I was invited into a hip workspace full of cutting-edge writers. It was in that bustling space that I wrote my second novel. To my dismay, it was a flop. My fans complained, my best critics wrote hurtful reviews, and my publisher threatened to pull my next contract unless I could guarantee another hit. As I faced my next project, I was paralyzed with fear. My hip workspace suddenly felt chaotic and noisy. Stressed out and stuck, I spent hours staring at a blank screen, my mind racing with loads of self-doubt and no inspiration. I got so desperate, I started reading books about how to write bestsellers. Though I tried to follow the templates, nothing worked. My restlessness grew to the point where I couldn't sit still. Finally, exploding from the pressure, I kicked my desk, abandoned the building and my contract. I took the first flight out and ended up on a small island where I rented a tiny house in the country and spent months burned out and depressed. At one point, I started gardening. For weeks my hands were deep in the earth, and my mind's only concern was how to make plants grow. As my body and soul adjusted to the slower-paced life, I learned that, while I could enhance a plant's growth with gardening techniques, most of the time plants knew perfectly well how to grow. They had their own timing. I also noticed that when I was in a good mood while planting seeds, the plants seemed to do better. Such small realizations reawakened the philosopher and writer in me. This time I was inspired to write poems, each word like a flower. When I felt strong enough to go back to the big city and clean up my mess, I realized that the stress I'd felt there wasn't just mine. It was everywhere and everyone's. My heart went out to humanity, and I knew my next book would illuminate the impact of the stress on all of us. My writing would serve the planet. This time I trusted the right words, and all of the inspiration I'd need would come just at the right time. My gift to you. I come to relieve you of your stress and to remind you that everything in nature, including you, has its own timing and growth pattern. Your intentions are like seeds. If you start something from a place of fear, the seed of fear will permeate the entire endeavor. So if you want your dreams to grow and thrive, just hold a clear intention, infuse it with goodwill, and trust that your dreams just know how and when to bloom. It's time to befriend restraint. Practice patience. Learn how to not interfere. Let your life and dreams unfold without too much pushing or prodding. And remember, more often than not, growth and transformation take place below ground, and the greatest seeds take the longest to germinate. To dive deeper into the energy of the 52, you can ask yourself the following questions. Where are you feeling most restless and impatient? Where do you feel most stuck? What are the ways you experience and express stress? Is your body currently showing signs of burnout? Think of a time you practiced restraint and it paid off. Reflect upon a current project. How can you re-infuse it with goodwill and loving intention? And the last one. What is a simple way you can reconnect with stillness today? That's it. Much love and happy contemplating.